Okay, welcome. I'm still operating under the designation Guy Newland, as I was yesterday, and today I'm happy to give the first of two talks on grief in relationship to Buddhist practice. Just a day or two ago I got from Venerable Chodron what seems to me a very useful definition of grief as the process of adjusting to a change that we did not want, which is very open-ended in terms of what kinds of different things people might be grieving and what kinds of feelings or sensations or thoughts, behaviors might come up in terms of their discomfort. And you get this idea that things are changing all the time, and some of these changes we're grasping after, and some of them we're pushing away. And when we really are pushing away hard on something and can't stop that kind of change, then some type of grief, like thing arises. It could be very minor, like if you were hoping it would be sunny and then it's cloudy. Or you could, lose a pet that you love, or you could lose a limb or an eye. It doesn't have to be the death of a person. You could lose even an object that's very valuable to you. So, to put that in a Buddhist perspective, I wanted to start with a quote from the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, which is in the Digha Nikaya of the Pali Canon, where Buddha spoke to Ananda, quote, "Everything that is dear and precious to us must suffer change, separation, alteration. Whatever is born is liable to decay. That it should not decay is impossible," unquote. So until we're liberated from cyclic existence in one way or another, change or decay of what is precious and what is dear to us is inevitable. And that means that separation from the people we love is inevitable. And that causes pain. It's mincing words, as Jeffrey was teaching us, to just say it's unsatisfactory. It hurts. Okay? So Buddha, in this passage that I quoted, was speaking to Ananda, trying to prepare Ananda, just to Ananda at that moment, trying to prepare Ananda for the end of Buddha's lifespan. And the Buddha was very precious to Ananda, and as you may know, at that particular time, Ananda was not yet liberated. So he was grieving, even hearing that he might be separated from the Buddha. So Sutta goes on to describe how it doesn't quite say all, but in general, the unliberated followers of the Buddha, in having to part from the Buddha, suffered quite painful grief. So, as I was saying, in life we have many different kinds of losses of things and people that we're trying to hold on to, clinging to, and we have lots of different kinds of things to grieve. And people experience that kind of pain in so many different ways that you can't easily enumerate. Sadness, obviously, a feeling of hollowness, a feeling of numbness, a feeling of missing the thing that you thought you had, or that part of yourself is gone, not being able to sleep, not being able to concentrate. Some people feel even a sense of despair or have thoughts of suicide in extreme cases, unfortunately. So, how can we, given that we're not liberated yet, how can we prepare ourselves? We prepare ourselves in Buddhism by making our view of the things and people we love more realistic. And the way we do that is by meditating on impermanence, and especially death. We know that impermanence includes subtle impermanence, which is the momentary changes of things instant by instant. And in my experience, most of the time, that doesn't bother me as long as the thing's pretty much the same and I can use it for what I want to do. I really don't care if the molecules have rearranged themselves very much. And it's like, oh, well, that doesn't sound so bad, the subtle impermanence. It's very subtle, and the table's still, very suitable for us today, even though it's not just the same as it was was yesterday. But of course, then there's aging of our bodies and our minds, and of the people we love and of the things we're attached to. And we find out that we all lose some of our eyesight as we get older, and some of our physical strength, and some of our memory, and many other things that we were, just assuming, taking for granted, so to speak, that was part of who we are. And so it's not that we just keep changing moment by moment, and the new version of us just can always stay together with the new version of the things and people that we love. Because there's also course impermanence, a breaking of the continuum, and we and our loved ones will definitely die, and will definitely be separated from them. And we really don't want to see things that way, but dem's the facts. There's no getting around it. So some people could answer to that, well, that may well be true. I'd prefer not to think about it. And if it is in fact true, what's the point of thinking about it? It's just depressing and doesn't do anything to help. And I know many people say this, and then even some of us might have that kind of resistance even if we don't articulate it. So in the long run, the purpose of meditating on these things is part of the path to liberation. But in the meantime, what kinds of benefits can we get from meditating on impermanence and death in the sense of acclimating ourselves to the idea that we'll be separating from things we love? Well, perhaps if we practice well, we'll become less fearful of our own death when we meditate on death. As death approaches, maybe we'll be less distressed because we've gotten used to expecting it. We built it into our set of expectations, so it's not as surprising or disturbing once we've taken it into account psychologically by thinking about it every day. But also, if we think about how we're definitely going to die and we definitely don't know when, we have the opportunity to use this day, these hours, these minutes in the most meaningful possible way. And we can think about what that might be, what would bring us the greatest satisfaction. And as I was suggesting yesterday, maybe that would involve helping others and trying to alleviate the suffering of others. But we also have to meditate on the death of other people, especially those to whom we're strongly attached. And I think it's important to accustom our mind to the idea that we definitely will be separated from them, to think about that and factor it in. And that's what I take it that Buddha was doing with Ananda. He's trying to get him to take that this was definitely going to happen, and he had to take it into account. And in that way, try to lessen, because at this point we're not talking about eliminating, but lessening the kind of distress we had at separating from things we love. And then also, of course, if we do this, then we don't assume that we'll have like another year or another 2 years or another month or another 10 years to be with people. And so we have to take the opportunities that come up to thank people, to apologize when we've wounded them, and when possible, to forgive them for things that they've done to injure us. Not wait. Because we don't know when it will be too late. Maybe we won't die, but they will, and we won't be, be able to have that attempt to resolve that. Now, sometimes we can't always resolve all of our issues. In the case, just as an example of working with our parents, we might never get to complete resolution of all the issues. So we just have to do the very best we can, and then let it go. And go back to our practice. So that's my talk for today. And the next part, I'm going to talk about short of liberation, what can we do to help other people or ourselves once we're in a serious grieving process. Thank you.